Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday evening. Hopefully, you guys have had an awesome start to your work week. It's been some wonky weather today. Snow is falling across portions of the interior Northeast. Snow is falling in portions of Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. It's still falling this afternoon and this evening. I've been seeing some pretty incredible videos. So it looks like the HRRR model had the right idea as far as snow falling. But of course, I'm not quite sure how much snow is really going to end up being measured in these areas as final totals. So it'll be very interesting. So y'all please keep me updated for you folks in the Northeast throughout the evening, the overnight hours into tomorrow, as we really try to figure out how much snow is actually going to fall and stick on the ground. I'm really watching you areas of central and basically the mountainous areas of the interior New York State. And we're going to talk a little bit about this storm as it kind of wraps up overnight into tomorrow. And then we're going to focus on this in this video really mainly about a big time system. The end of this work week, it could promote some severe weather, still some question marks, and then the potential is there for another significant snowstorm for areas of the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. The growth during the slow times is always very important. So I really appreciate people who continue to tune in. I'm two members away from 20 people who have joined my channel. That is the goal of mine for the end of May, for me to have 20 members. I'm at 18 right now. I really appreciate you guys supporting me monthly in that way. It really goes a long way, like I said, especially when I keep putting in the work here, but there isn't quite as much to talk about. And I'm really grateful for that, honestly, as things have begun to kind of slow down a little bit. It's been really nice to really just take a breather, as I know hurricane season is right around the corner. And I got some pretty big plans for hurricane season. I really do, for you guys, with setting up the camera and being able to record while I'm driving like some of the other storm chasers do. I'm really looking forward to getting that set up for hurricane season for you guys. But over a 2-minute intro now. I know some people do not like that too much, but if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. It gives others an opportunity to do so too. When you all look out for one another and glorify God doing it. So let's take a look at the latest HRRR model for potentially how this system can unfold overnight for the Northeast. And as we're going here, this continues. We're starting to get to about 10 p.m. Eastern time, and the heavy snow really starts to get going here. And this area, the Appalachian Mountains, right into here, the highest elevations of New York State. Watch out, even Northeast Pennsylvania, Scranton, for example, watching you. But the kind of the mountainous areas where you're about 2,000 to 3,000 feet up in elevation, right in here in New York State, I really think is going to be the jackpot area for the most snow. But Binghamton, you guys could see several inches of snow. It's probably going to melt very quickly tomorrow, and that's how it is in April. This isn't a snow that falls and stays on the ground for weeks on end like in January. It's not going to be like that. But a wind-driven rain for New Jersey overnight and into New York City, into areas of Long Island and in southern New England. A wind-driven heavy rain. It's going to be just nasty overnight. Honestly, we're probably grateful this is going to just happen overnight so it doesn't affect anybody driving to work, to and fro, and things like that. But this is going to be a heavy area of snow right into here. It really is heavy, wet, paste-like snow. I mean, it's going to be those flakes that are probably just the size of $half, if not bigger. I've seen videos of it all day today in western areas of Maryland, West Virginia, even Virginia. They had a lot of sleet today that caused a lot of issues on the interstates up here in this region of Virginia. So it's been very interesting to see how this system has unfolded today by actual observations and things like this. But this continues. The low pressure begins to really move completely inland as we're getting into the wee hours of the morning. Heavy, heavy rain, 2 to 4, 5 o'clock in the morning for Boston and Mass in general. Then higher elevations of Vermont and New Hampshire get into the fun with some heavy, heavy late season wet snow. And this low pressure does not move this way out into the North Atlantic. It is plowed right into the Northeast and then moves into the interior Northeast as you're getting into tomorrow morning. Brings its own cold air at the surface and aloft. Therefore, you get a nasty dry slot right in here for people who are pulling for the snow. Some people will take snow at all times of the year. I'm kind of like that to a degree. But once you get into the spring and the summer, especially early summer to all through spring, I'm kind of ready just to move and get through the warm weather. And then when fall kind of comes, when you start to get to the end of August, the beginning of September, I start to get excited for fall and winter all over again. But here we go. The backside of this, where you still got the cold air, you're waking up to still snow in areas of New York State, and then some snow in areas of northern Maine. But going forward here, I really want to show you this briefly, then we'll talk about the storm coming up later this week. The snowfall rates, these are basically 1 hour snow totals, right? So you're getting into about the middle of the night, probably midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Look at these higher elevations, the Appalachian Mountains right here. The valley, the Hudson Valley's right into here. Then you got another valley right into here, give or take geographically. It's hard to figure out where exactly it is without actually looking at an elevation map. But there is an intense valley right into here, the Hudson Valley, where the Hudson River goes up, and then there's a valley shoots across the central areas of New York State. But I think in the valleys, you're going to fight that rain and snow. But all you got to do is probably go a couple thousand feet up in the air, and you guys could get absolutely hammered with some heavy, wet snow. And what this is 1 hour rate snowfall. So it's trying to tell you right here, down in this area of New York State, right northeast of the Pennsylvania-New York State line, inside the border of actual New York State, you can have 6 inches of snow in 1 hour. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I do not think, but it tells you the idea that, hey, you're going to have 1 to 3 inch per hour rates, I think, at some time overnight in this area of New York State. And I think that's going to unfold. I really do, because you're going to just get this heavy pace-like snow, and it doesn't add up quite as quick as that dry snow does, but even with marginal temperatures, it's going to be snowing so hard in this region that it's not going to matter. It really isn't. So be careful tonight. Definitely just hunker down, act like it's just a winter night, and don't really go out anywhere, overnight tonight. This is going to be a heavy, quick-hitting snowstorm for sure. So let's go on and switch and talk about what we do know regarding the severe weather threat for this coming late week. I'm talking about Friday. Now, I'm not calling this a severe weather outbreak or anything right now, but I'm saying, the dynamics are coming together for some severe weather in the middle of the country, in the northern plains potentially, and the north, basically the north central areas of the U.S. here. And this includes a 15% risk. That's basically a slight risk at day 5. Level 2 out of 5 risk here, saying a 15% risk of severe weather and 25 miles on any given point in this location. This includes areas like Omaha, Sioux Falls, and any other small town in this yellow area, and this is right here. This is Kansas, eastern Nebraska, and then southeastern South Dakota, and then western areas of Iowa. So be careful. This could tweak a little bit back and forth. Can increase. But what's going to happen here is you're going to have basically a system, and I'll go on and show you this first. Let's go on and show you this. This is the 500 millibar wind streams. You're going to have an upper trough that digs into the western U.S., just like normally any other severe weather event normally starts for the middle of the country. And depending on how he ejects across the country, depends on how far east it gets. And, talking about if you get a severe weather threat in the southeast, it really depends on what these little short waves do and how this upper trough kind of digs and where it doesn't dig. So this kind of digs into the Pacific, not the Pacific, but the desert Southwest. And as it does, it begins to kind of eject, and then you have areas of a shortwave low pressures that potentially kind of slide along this trough. And as it does, it's going to yank moisture out the Gulf of Mexico and just from the south in general. So you kind of look at what unfolds here, and we'll start this for Friday. And here comes a low pressure, a short wave that develops along this upper trough. And as it does, you have storms that fire up in those same areas that are showing in the slight risk right here. So how are these going to be supercells? Is this going to be just kind of a line of storms? We're not sure. We're not in short range models, and we're not going to be in short range models for at least the next 48, probably 72 hours as in regards to reliable short range models. But what we do know is we're probably going to have some storm activity right into here. How severe does it get? Are you going to have a severe weather outbreak, a tornado outbreak, large hail, damaging winds? Not sure, but we're 21Z Friday, so we're about Friday early to mid-afternoon in this region. You already got storms firing up right here based off the latest European model. Then we keep this rolling here, and then we're getting into Saturday morning, and then this trough, this upper trough gets negatively tilted, and we've talked about that. The dynamics max out, and then we have cold air on the backside, even though we're getting into late April, some storms showing up here in Nebraska and Kansas, but are they going to be severe? Or are they not? I would not be surprised if you have a severe weather threat getting into Saturday morning also. But look at this raging snowstorm, potential blizzard cranking up with a deepening low pressure on a negatively tilted trough here. You're likely going to have another potential for a blizzard here in eastern areas of Montana, and then western areas of the Dakotas, and then Wyoming in general. Does this sneak into areas like Colorado? Denver has not had any kind of crazy weather this year. They really haven't. Normally you see some crazy late season March snowstorm or April snowstorm, but nothing too crazy this year. It really has not been any typical crazy Denver weather this year. It really hasn't. But you keep this rolling here, and as that upper trough digs into the southwest, it yanks up all this moist air, and then you have dew points rise all the way into the 60s, all the way up into Nebraska, dew points in the 50s, all the way into South Dakota, and then almost some 50s all the way into North Dakota. So you're going to have that low-level moisture, dew points getting into the 60s, right ahead of somewhat of a dry line that sets up here. So you're going to have, moist air all the way up to the triple point. So moist air is going to be there. We got that to work with. So a very broad, pulled up moist sector to get into this area. And then you look at things like that storm juice, that cape, a mixed layer cape. How much storm energy do you have in place? Well, if you look at the Euro, it shows a substantial amount, 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram in surface and mixed layer cape. So you have the energy and the mid levels there for storm development. But does it get to the surface? There's so many other things that go into severe weather besides what I talk about. And honestly, severe weather is a difficult topic to break down and figure out. It really is, because there's a lot of dynamics that go into it besides the three things that I always mention the most, which is CAPE, that low-level jet, and that low-level moisture, how high are the dew points in the areas. But those are the three main things. But you got mid-level, you got the lapse rates, how quick does the temperatures cool the farther you get up in the atmosphere. You got a lot of other things that go into this. You got... do you have an elevator mix layer in place, which is a layer of dry air in the atmosphere? There's a lot of things that go into this bulk shear. But going forward here, we know we have the storm energy in place. So you keep this going here. Sorry, I had to briefly stop my video, check on my little girl, but she was just laughing. It sounded like she was upset though. But anyways, the low-level jet cranking up across the middle of the country in response to this digging upper trough. So you're going to have that low-level wind energy, the kinematics you need for a severe weather threat. But then again, that's not the only thing you need for severe weather. Where do all these dynamics overlap each other? So where do you have the favorable kinematics, the thermodynamics? Thermodynamics meaning that moisture at the surface, and then the CAPE levels, the storm energy, the storm juice, storm fuel, whatever you want to call it. But you have a low-level jet pushing, 40 to 50 knots in areas, 30 to 40 knots in these areas where that slight risk is at. And then it really increases as you're getting in late Friday. And then it really, really increases overnight Friday into Saturday morning, with a low-level jet really ramping up into about 40 to 50 knot range in this region of the country, Nebraska, areas of South Dakota, eastern Iowa, and places like that. So you got the dynamics kind of working its way, but what will the storm mode be? Will there be any storms? It's a big question here. It really is. But you got the dynamics working in your favor up here for severe weather, but how will they come together? But I can tell you, there's another risk for a significant blizzard. Let's get this going. If you don't know where we're at, this is North Dakota, this is South Dakota, this is Wyoming, this is Montana, Colorado, and Nebraska. So as this thing becomes negatively tilted, this low pressure ramps up, dynamics max out, and look, this is for Saturday morning, this coming Saturday morning. Heavy snow across almost all of Wyoming, if not all of Wyoming. Watch out Cheyenne, and watch out areas of eastern Montana, especially southeastern Montana, far eastern areas, western areas of South Dakota and North Dakota. And then this really begins to intensify. Even some snow working its way into far western areas of Nebraska. It's not totally uncommon. It happens. But here's the low pressure. The cold air is wrapping around on this side of the low pressure, the western side. And it could be another long duration weekend blizzard for you folks up here. How much snow? Well, this is how much snow the Euro is showing. But please don't look at this and take this as a forecast. But I mean, This is really crazy to see. It really is. Maybe another 1 to 2 foot of snow for these regions. So we'll try to figure out what's going to happen. It's a big question mark here, but we're going to continue to break this down and figure it out. But another interesting setup for late week in the weather world coming up. So I'll talk to you guys in the morning. God bless all y'all. Have a safe evening, and talk to you soon.